Hello.
Hi, Sanat.
How are
How are
you?
you? Fantastic.
Good, good.
Happy
Happy
Friday.
Friday. Yay. Where are you? That looks
Yeah.
fun.
Uh,
Looks
yeah, so
interesting.
it's in this place called Marina Bay Sands.
Oh,
It's
yes.
yeah, so it's one of the most popular place in Singapore. It's an
Oh,
iconic building.
beautiful.
Yeah, so you can see
Yeah, it
there's
looks
lots of
beautiful. Show
water.
us a bit.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
wow.
maybe let's
This this is the
see if I can.
middle in the
Yeah,
center of it,
yeah,
isn't it?
yeah. So there are actually like let's see you can see that there's a canal in the middle of the
Oh,
mall.
yeah.
So
Oh, how
it's
pretty.
it's linked to a huge casino, and I guess it replicates a little bit like in Las Vegas. So there's
Oh,
there are boats going through, and there's restaurants, lots of beautiful shops.
oh, nice.
Yeah,
All
so
those
yeah,
beautiful designer
yeah. So
labels.
I don't know if you can see that. So there are actually
Yeah.
some boats coming through. There's
Oh
a
my God, how
bridge.
nice.
Yeah.
I didn't know there would be boats coming through there. How cool is that?
Yeah, so it's
That's
a
so
middle
nice.
mall. It's a mall that opens till really late, like till midnight.
Oh, how jealous am I? Over here, unless it's Christmas time, nothing is open till midnight. Nothing. Like no mall would ever be open till midnight, except like
Yes.
2 days before Christmas, and that would be one mall in the whole city.
Yeah.
So
That's what I
one,
love about Asia. We can shop till
yeah,
we drop.
yeah.
But
No wonder you
then
were
but then but
in fashion.
then having said yeah, but having said that, now with online with what's happening in the digital world, I don't really need the shops to be
No,
open. I can
that's
I can
exactly
click
right.
I can click away at home in the comfort in my pajamas.
Yeah, I don't know how long it's been since I've gone. Like, I think the last time I went to shops was like some weeks back, and I just literally went in. I had to just pick something up, from a pharmacy and come back home. And I had no interest in looking in the shops because, like, when you can just sit at home on your couch and buy whatever you want,
Exactly.
you don't
Exactly.
get bothered.
And return it.
Yeah,
Even if it's on markdown, no questions asked.
yeah.
It's yeah, I've changed my mind about shopping completely. I used to travel, just to buy a handbag,
Wow.
because I needed
Really?
it that badly. Now I'm so glad I don't have to do that anymore.
Yeah, it's all changed, hasn't it?
I
Yeah.
know. I
That's,
love technology.
yeah, me too. Well, we definitely have that in common, don't we? So for people who don't know, on each other's page who we are, so Angela and I are business partners in this amazing online business that we both do, which is global, which is why I'm in Australia
Exactly.
and she's in Singapore and sometimes she's in London. She's
Yes.
just
I
everywhere.
yeah.
And it makes it all possible. So we certainly have that in common. But what our viewers don't know is that we've got something else in common as well, that we both are bookworms in a way. We love
Yes.
to read, we love to learn, we love
Yes.
podcasts, we love all that sort of stuff. So a book that Angela and I both read this week is, drum rolls, you tell them, Angela.
So it's a really unique title. It's called The Latte Factor.
I judge
It's a
it
very
by its
short.
cover
Yeah.
because I love
It's a short.
lattes.
It's a short book, but don't think it's about your life as a barista or learning how to make a coffee. In fact, it's such a clever title because it caught my eye through your recommendation. Thank you. And
Glad you liked
there
it.
are so many life skills because there's something about me as well as I love life hacks.
Yeah,
That's why I love technology, because I love life hacks because everyone has the same 24 hours a day. So we all could use some hacks, whether it's to make
absolutely.
ourselves feel better, make our family lives feel better. We all could use some hacks, right?
Definitely. And this book was so cool because in such a short book, there were so many nuggets in there. Like it really got me
Exactly.
excited. Like oftentimes I'll read a whole book and it will be about like I'll just pick up like 2 or 3 things out of it. Whereas this one was so much, and I had to really sort of try and cherry pick the things we're going to talk about. So Angela and I discussed it, and some
Yeah.
of the points that sort of we both resonated with, we're going to share with you guys today and just very briefly touch on it. And obviously, if you guys are interested in the book, we definitely recommend you read it.
Yeah.
But the book is basically, as a whole, you know, it's about this girl who, when she's walking to work, she goes into this beautiful cafe, and every day she gets a latte. And in that cafe, there are these beautiful paintings. And one day, you know, she always just stands in front of them, sort of looking at them, admiring them, and thinking, gee, I can't afford to buy this. I wish I could. And then one day the shop owner turns around and says to her, like, you know, stands next to her while she's watching that and goes, you know, why don't you buy it? And she's like, oh, I can't afford it. And he's like, yes, I can. And so she was so surprised, like, what would you know about my financial situation? And he goes, well, the latte that you're paying for every day, if you were to save that $4.50 each day, after a little while, you're going to be able to buy this painting. So that's kind of how the book starts and goes into some really sort of great points. And one of the first points that I wrote down to sort of talk about, it says, earnings are like tides, and your spending is like boats. So when the tide goes up, the boat goes up. You know, tide comes down, the boat comes down. So I thought that was a really cool analogy because it's so true, and it's happened to all of us, hasn't it? Where, you know, you're earning more and you end up with the same because you're just spending more, right? Have you experienced that?
Yeah, for sure. And then I guess that's also why I picked this location today.
Yeah.
With the boats in the background. Yeah, so obviously, you know, when I first started, graduated from school, I was making very little money. And then, like you said, you know, as I earn more, you started to feel, oh, I'm really rich. You know, you start to spend more. And then little did I know at that time that we should be accumulating assets and not liabilities. Spend your money wisely and make it work for you. Right. So I mean that's something that I didn't learn in my 20s. I only discovered in my later years.
Yeah.
30s onwards. Yeah.
If only like in our 20s we had the brain that we have now, like with all the experience. I always say that. I'm like, you know, you hear it when you're younger, but then sort of as life goes on, you're like, oh, you know, 10 years ago, if I knew what I know now, what would my life look like? So I thought that point was brilliant because it really resonated with me, because I had literally gone through that. I was like, okay, I'm earning like double, triple what I used to. You know, what have I got to show for it? Like, you just spend more and spend more.
Exactly.
And another point that was really good, and and you've probably, Angela, read it in so many different books as well, because I know the type of books that you read too. It says to pay yourself first. And also I've read, it wasn't mentioned in this book, but in other books it talks about, you know, rich people invest first and, you know, pay yourself first and then pay everybody else and do all the other things that everybody else does. So normal people will just go pay bills, you know, spend money on leisure, do this and the other, and then there's nothing left to pay themselves or invest. So in this book, it says that the first hour of each day's work should be your money to keep and to be saved.
But
do you agree with that?
Yeah, no, definitely. And to be honest, I really like how they phrased it in this book, because it says, okay, let's say you're making $30 an hour. Why shouldn't you pay yourself $5 an hour? I mean, like, pay yourself first, that first $5. Because that $30 an hour, it shouldn't be first go pay your cable bills, your rent, your transport. You need to pay yourself first. But what does that mean? Let's say that $5 that you're paying yourself every day, if you do that every single day for the next 40 years, because even this book, they have this table, and assuming, you know, interest rate is 10%. Okay, we know that interest rate is not 10%, but if you can put aside some sort of investment where it pays 10%, after 40 years, you get more than $1 million. So that's really, it's something incredible. People don't think about it. You know, just something small.
Like a
$5 a day.
moment, isn't it? Like when it explains that, we were like, really?
put it into a table in this book. So I really highly recommend this book. You know, you really have to see yourself, because I'm also a very numbers person. I'm sure many people are very visual as well. When all these numbers is being tabulated for you into a table, and then you think to yourself, oh my God, you just have to do that tiny little habit for 40 years.
Yeah. And like paying yourself first, like even if you think about it, when you go on an airplane as well, where the oxygen mask comes, and they always say, you know, you've got to first put it on yourself. And your initial instinct is like, if I've got a little infant or an elderly next to me, I'm going to put it on them first. But then you're no good to anyone if you pass out. So you do have to, it's logical. You've got to put it on yourself first so you can help others. And that's the same with your financials. Like, you got to make your financials strong. You've got to think about that first. And then you've got something to give back, you know, to other people as well, and everything else you got to do. And the best, and it was talking about the best way to do that is to automate it, because it takes so much discipline, you know, to actually make sure you do that. Whereas if you just automated like a certain amount, whether your boss sort of takes it out of your pay, or you kind of set up a retirement fund type thing, or even if you just have another bank account that's higher interest and you just automatically deduct payments like on the day your pay comes in, and you just do that over the years, you just get used to whatever is left over, and that's all you got to work with. It just makes so much difference.
So in fact, in Singapore, we have a mandatory savings. So it's called the CPF, and everyone has to save 20% of their pay, and the employer will also top up another 17%. That's why there are no homeless people in Singapore.
Wow.
So these mandatory savings go towards your first house. Yeah. So that's how it works. Yeah.
That is.
Yeah, so it's automated, like you said. You have to automate it.
And mandatory.
Mandatory. Yeah.
Wow,
and it pays a high interest as well. So while you're accumulating your cash reserves towards your first property, the government, you know, does pay you interest as well. So it's
That's so good. So even if you get your first, like you're a student and you got this sort of part-time job, just, you know, working in a cafe or whatever. Even that. Wow.
So like right now, one of the reasons why I'm in Singapore is my daughter just turned 18. She's taking a gap year before she goes to university. So she's working at Apple at the moment. So she got her first paycheck last Friday. She was so excited. And then she looked at the figure. She's like, why did they take 20% of me? Just like, I don't want that, you know, I don't want that few $100s taken away from me. You know, so young people, they want to be able to spend it all first. But the government here forces you to pay yourself in a way to save.
No.
I said, that is going to go to your first property in Singapore.
That's genius. Yes, that is a real. I had no idea Singapore does that. That is absolutely genius.
So they force the employer to also contribute to the savings. So employer 17%, employee 20%.
Wow.
So it is a substantial amount.
That really adds up. Like, think about how many years like we've been working. I mean, so you know, like over here, we don't have like we've got the superannuation. There is the superannuation, but it's not something you can pull out to buy your first house. It's nothing like that, you know. That's at your retirement. You know, God knows by that time, like what the value of money and how that sort of ended up for you.
Exactly, with inflation rates like this now, right?
Yeah. The other point that I was going to mention, and this is so good. It says dreams are like oxygen. Without them, you suffocate. So you got to dream big. And how good is that? Like, I know, that's fantastic.
That for me is so powerful, because we never think of it that way, right? Like, your dream should be like your oxygen. It's
like we sort of think of dreams as this kind of, you know, like, I remember when I was a child, I was often told, stop dreaming, you know, stop dreaming, and just, you know, be real, get a real job, you know, these things sort of, as you grow up, you hear that, you know, everyone sort of expects that you're going to go this certain path. And that's where, like, you know, even with this online business that we're doing now, like it's something that is so beyond what so many people think would be possible. And it's exactly it. It's like dreaming, but it's reality. Whatever you can sort of dream about will become your reality. So
Exactly.
that was such a good point. That was such a good point too.
Yeah.
So yeah,
And
really,
and yeah. And something I want to add is, well, I mean, I don't know about you, but I am sure we're quite similar. If you have a dream, you have that burning desire, you will make it happen, no matter what odds you face. I mean, that's me, because I'm that sort of person. Regardless of whatever job I'm doing, I hate failing. Sure, we fail. I mean, we don't always succeed all the time,
yeah,
but I will try again, right? I
yeah.
mean, that's part and parcel of life, and then it makes it even sweeter when you get there, when you succeed, because when it's too easy, you're never going to appreciate it.
You're not. You just kind of let it go easily as well. You don't,
Yeah,
yeah, when
yeah,
you just, your
yeah.
blood, sweat, and tears have gone into it. And you listen to any sort of successful person, famous person, or any, you know, from different walks of life. Like I listen to Jay Shetty all the time. He's
Oh
interviewing so
yes,
many different
I
people.
I love him.
You love him?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
he's
yeah,
amazing.
yeah.
And he's just constantly bringing in like different people he's talking to. And you listen to all their stories, like they all have this complicated past with all this sort of failure, and you know, and they just keep getting up until now they're where they are. So it's
Hmm.
just, yeah, it's you got to have that perseverance. It's just like with anything in life. So if
Yeah.
you were to sort of wrap up what the highlights of the book were for you, what would you say?
So I
What
would
sort
say
of really stood
this.
out?
You know, we treat our health. I mean, what the most important thing is our health, right? Because obviously, without health, nothing else matters.
Exactly.
So, in order to be healthy, we look after our body, we look after what we eat, right? So, you don't leave it to other people's hands. The same,
You cut out. I can't hear you. Yeah.
it's the same like leaving your health to somebody else. So, you have to take charge of your own wealth, on how you want to live your life. And if you want to be rich, you have to think differently. And there's all these tiny little habits that will make a difference. Yeah.
That's so true. That is so true. Like you can't leave it to anybody else's control. And that's what it also said about paying you. When you're paying yourself, you feel more
Selfless.
in control of you know, your wealth. So yeah, yeah, it was a brilliant book. I really enjoyed
It
it.
is. It is. And it's such a short read.
Yeah, and I'll probably read it again another
Under
time.
100 pages. So
Yeah, it's a really, God, I love books like that when they're really short. Motivates me to read. That's really good. Yeah. So yeah, we really enjoyed that book. So we thought we'd come and share some of the highlights with you guys. If you know,
yeah,
anyone out there is a book lover like us and loves to learn and sort of get more insight into different things, that was a really great book. So hope you, Angela, enjoy your Marina Bay Sands. I can see that
the boats,
float behind you
right?
right now.
Yeah.
Oh, that was fun. What a good place to be on a Friday, hey?
Yeah.
What's next for
Except
you
that,
this afternoon?
oh, I'm meeting a friend for lunch after this.
Oh, how nice. Well,
Yeah.
you
And
enjoy yourself.
yeah. What are you doing later this evening?
Well, actually, after I get my kids, I've got to go well, get them organized, and then tonight we're going to my parents to celebrate my sister's. It's been 2 years she's had her business. She's a physio, and it's the second year anniversary of her business since she started. So we're just kind of going to have a bit of a family dinner
Nice.
and kind of give to
Nice.
her and her business and celebrate a little. So that'll be nice for a Friday, and then tomorrow morning is off to the, you know, we've got swimming for the kids and a couple of meetings and a bit here and there. So yeah, bit of a
Okay.
relaxed night tonight, but the rest of the afternoon I've just got to do a little bit more work and then grab the kids and go from there. Yeah. Well,
Fantastic.
I hope
Well,
you
you
have a
have a
really
great
nice.
weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
And thanks
Thank you.
everyone for joining us. And we will see you guys next week, same time.
All right. See you then.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.